knowledge.
So, a lot of times artists and new people in the industry are afraid to call a lawyer because they feel like it's going to be too expensive. Have a conversation.
Right.
Because even if I can't do it, I have associates that work for me.
One of the biggest obstacles artists face in the music game is access. Getting access to the people that can make it happen, or access to the information and resources you need to get to the next level. That's the key. That's why you need two of the biggest in the game on your side. Introducing McKee, Boomman. Welcome to the real industrial plug. You heard me?
I got some other questions that I want to ask you that's off topic.
Go for it.
We'll go through.
No, we got plenty of time.
Let's just flow with it.
Yeah.
No, well, I really want to. Ask the question that we got coming up, and then I want to. It's a row of questions that I want to ask. Right?
Just don't forget it though.
No, I'm not gonna forget it. I'm not gonna forget it because the thing is I like to get to the root because I deal with a lot of independent artists, right, and producers. So a lot of the questions that I want to ask you, since we are privy to have you on the show, is based on the questions that they would want to ask an attorney, but a lot of them can't afford
to ask these questions.
These questions.
Yes. So because the attorney does charge by the hour.
Exactly. So,
or by the deal. So, we do flat fee deals, especially for young upstarts. I mean, so for young upstart,
right. So I think that's the question.
Producers, writers, and artists, we come in, we do a flat fee deal, we do a percentage deal. We try and make sense. Let's get in the business together.
Right. So that's the question. That's the next question. The next question is, how does an artist distinguish the price for an attorney's services?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So as I'm a young artist and I don't know, I want to get somebody to help me with this contract, and I want to get somebody to help me, do this management deal. Yep. You know what I'm saying? To come on, assigned to this independent label. What do I need to look at as far as price point?
Sure. Yeah. So let's break that down to two different things. Okay. Generally, if it's a money deal, if there's a record label that's trying to sign you and they're going to pay you in advance of some sort,
okay,
then there's money even at the end of the rainbow. I may not say you got to pay me today. I may say when the deal closes, my fee will be X.
Right.
Right. And generally it's 5% of the deal.
Okay. Generally 5%.
Generally 5% of the deal.
Okay.
Of the. And then we just go from there. Now, if you're coming in as an artist and your first agreement is a management agreement, so there's really no money there, then typically we'll just say it's a flat fee of X. We'll kind of just discuss and figure out where you are.
Well, what's the normal? It's probably based off like an hourly rate or a retainer,
I would say somewhere between $1,000 and $2,500.
Okay, cool.
And then
is that the typical retainer or is that a typical hourly rate?
No, that's not the hourly rate. That's what I would estimate it would take to negotiate a typical management agreement. Okay, right? Cool. So, if you're going to be tied to a manager anywhere from 2 to 5 years, you should get that negotiated. There are some terms. Let me just I have to dispel one myth on this show.
Please. Okay, go ahead.
There is no such thing as a standard contract.
Exactly.
Period.
There's no such thing as a standard contract. Remember that.
I have one management agreement when I represent the manager. Okay. I have another management agreement when I represent the talent. Different terms.
For sure.
And so, and I may say this is my standard agreement. Yeah, when I represent the talent.
Right.
And then even within that, when I represent a talent, A-level talent, there's a whole nother management agreement.
Right. Okay.
Because you got to have all kind of other protections in there. Right.
Exactly. So that's dope information. That's dope knowledge.
So, a lot of times artists and new people in the industry are afraid to call a lawyer because they feel like it's going to be too expensive. Have a conversation.
Right.
Because even if I can't do it, I have associates that work for me. So you're not... Leron Rogers is not negotiating a management agreement, most likely.
Exactly.
Unless it's a big A-level talent.
Right.
But I have scores of associates who are like me when I was a young lawyer, and I'll be over it. We're going to discuss the terms. They're going to run everything by me, but they're going to take the time and they're going to do it.
Right.
Yeah. And, they're me 20 years ago.
Right. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, excuse me, me and JR, we talk a lot about owning masters and things of that nature.
I've seen the discussion.
right. Okay, cool.
Let's get into it.
So I talked to him, and I feel like as an artist, I feel like that's my attorney's job to protect me and to help me, secure my masters in whatever sort of fashion based on the leverage that's had. I want to get your opinion on that from your expertise.
Yeah, I mean, so this is what I would say in the last few years, that has been a very frequent question for artists that come into my office and sit down and say, hey, I want to be in the music business. I have a little bit of a buzz generally. Some people are calling. What should I do? How should I handle it? Right. And so really what separates a regular entertainment lawyer and a really good to great one is knowing when you have the leverage, and you better take that deal even if it's a peanut butter sandwich kind of a situation.
Right.
Or saying we should ask for more money. We should ask that the deal structure be changed to maybe a 50-50. We should ask for the deal structure to be changed to a licensing deal.
Right.
So in every one of those is levels and leverage to that, and being able to gauge what are the metrics, what's the excitement I need to feel. I need to talk to those executives and feel their energy
based on the leverage
and see what the leverage is.
It's based off the leverage, right?
Yeah.
Right. So coming in the gate, if it's and we know, we've had this conversation. So I just want to have this conversation with you real quick.
Yeah.
So coming out the gate, when we're telling artists to own their masters, you feel like it should be based off of leverage, or you feel like every artist should just be trying to own their masters?
Well, I think that's your goal, right? You may not be able to have that on your first record deal.
Right.
You may not be able to get that until, you finish that first recording agreement.
Right.
I mean, the first deal, which may be 4 or 5 albums. But you might get the leverage. I've had that a few times.
So this
is catching lightning in a bottle. That's not the norm.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want to see. I like to go deep, right?
Yep. Let's get it.
What is the purpose of owning your masters?
The purpose of owning your masters is, at some point in time, it's two things. One is control.
Right.
So who's approving the use of those masters?
Okay.
And then ultimately, if you're successful, then you can sell those masters. I think I was flipping through and saw that you guys did something on selling catalogs.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And so when you own stuff, the multiple is higher. So I'm getting back to my finance. Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just are entitled to a cash flow or royalty stream, and that doesn't come with control. And companies that buy those cash flows and those rights value that lower than when you own it. So
what do you think is the norm of an artist coming in and somebody's putting up money for them and they don't really have a buzz, or they don't really have any leverage, they have no streams, they have nothing, but somebody believes in them talent-wise for them to come in a situation and say, hey, I want to own my masters, and somebody else is putting up a huge amount of money.
What's the normal terms for a situation like that?
Yeah, so there's a couple different scenarios when artists come in. Either they're super dope and talented and they have a lot of talent and no resources, right? That's your least leverage point. If they can convince someone like Boomman, JR to work with them, then there's virtually under no circumstances, not all the times, but generally not, the company that puts up the money, they're the one that makes the rules. They're the ones that owns the stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Sound like the golden rule to me.
Those who take the risk own the stuff.
Exactly.
Right? And that's not to say that that's a bad thing, because you got to get in the game.
Because it wouldn't behoove a label to invest a bunch of money to a new artist and not own the master. Am I right or wrong?
No, that's true. Well, because the label is also playing the same game. The label also wants to multiply.
What are we talking about? The label? We talking about an independent label?
Independent label.
Okay.
I'm signing a new act. Yep. We signing a new act, right? And this artist, and like say for example, Authentic Empire, we want to sign an artist, but the artist want to own his masters. Right, would that be smart for me as a label owner?
It depends who I represent. If I represent the talent and you're gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
Right.
But I'm just saying that's not the norm.
Right. But if you represent the talent and the talent own the masters, who has the control?
I would tell the talent, if we don't have 2 or 3 labels competing and you don't have a lot of leverage, that's the standard, is for the production company / independent label to own the masters. And then we try to carve out, if you did 50 songs before you entered into this deal, we try to carve that out so that you still own that.
I think what I'm trying, and I don't mean to cut you off. I think what I'm trying to get to the root of is this right here. A lot of artists don't even know what the purpose of owning the master is.
I got you.
You get where I'm coming from?
Well, so owning the masters only becomes valuable if you're successful.
Yeah, if the masters are valuable.
And it's based on, and what I'm trying to get to the root of is because all these artists run around like, oh, I want to do this deal, I want to own my masters. Oh, I ain't finna give up my rights to my masters. But I don't even think they know what they're giving up, because it's like the thing about me, the reason why I created my platform, because I wanted to educate independent artists, because I used to be an independent artist. And I remember once upon a time when I was coming up as an independent artist, the whole mantra was stay independent. You don't need to sign to no major. You don't need to sign no deal. And as I learned business, I said, that don't make no sense. Why would I want to stay independent? You know what I'm saying? And I don't have no money.
I'm going to beg to differ with you, though. That's the goal. So if I'm an artist and I can get my content from either my relationships or I have money to pay for it, and then I can get the expertise in the marketing and development, and I can get the expertise in touring, and I can put all those pieces together myself. 100%, you should take a go at it on your own and be able to fund it. But you have to be able to do all those things.
And I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you. And I understand you as an attorney, but my whole thing, the reason why I disagree with you is because the one thing I've learned about business, my rule number 1 for me, business and investing are team sports. It's not meant to be done by yourself.
He just put together the team.
No, I get it. I know, and I get that. But the reason why I'm saying independently, and this is where you would have to help me with your expertise, right? It's coming up as an artist. I'm not privy to a venture capitalist where I'm gonna get the funding.
Well, that's why I said if that artist can do all of them, all of those things I just named, then they should take a go at it. Not saying that they should always do it forever, but they should take a go at it, because you got to remember, being a successful artist, we living in hip hop. You got the diamond watches, and the shoes and the cars,
the culture,
It's a difference, and then some other areas, right? So if you take some alternative rock or some other areas, they just want to make a living doing what they love.
And
I get you can do that if you can independently, if you understand how to put the pieces together.
I definitely agree with you on that.
All right, so boom, I got a question that I want to get into after this, but before we get into my question, I want to wrap up what we were talking about before. Okay. Number 1, Leron was instructing us that you need to approach an attorney whenever paperwork is put in front of you.
Exactly.
Like that's when is it time to approach an attorney? Is as soon as somebody puts some paperwork in front of you.
That's the latest point.
I mean?
Yep.
Correct.
And then also, from a payment standpoint, don't be afraid to approach them, because even if you can't afford them, they can point you in the right direction.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then also, there are different structures of how you can pay them. So I wanted to wrap that up.